Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rance alongside Tommy Kreis and TK with us over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge, right off of Airline Highway near Parkview Baptist in Baton Rouge. I'm coming to you from an undisclosed location presented by Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, and we're sponsored by L'Auberge Casino. L'Auberge Casino, where we were the last couple of weeks for our Sports Shorts radio show. And on the west side, on the east side, rather, of the river, the best place to go watch all the college football, pro football games. Last night, San Francisco 49ers put it on the New York Giants. We're in control of that game from the jump. And 3-0 now are the San Francisco 49ers. TK, speaking of the 49ers, they cut bait. You know, when you make a decision and you draft a guy, first round, and you move up to get him, here we are, 3 years later, and they went ahead and decided that Purdy was going to be their franchise quarterback. They saw enough last year in a small sample size to realize a guy who wasn't a first-round pick could lead the franchise. That's impressive. A lot of times teams kind of die on that vine, sticking with their decisions of the past.
Yeah, they really do. And the old saying, it's better to make a decision too early than too late. And we've seen that play out in sports all around the country at all levels. But no, and right now it's looking great. They're 3-0 and totally dominated the Giants last night. Wow. Giants struggling, but it was a big win for the 49ers. They've sent the message that they're serious contenders in the NFC.
Yeah, definitely. Brock Purdy, the guy, 3-0. All right. LSU tomorrow. This line is moving around a little bit, but 17-point favorite all the way up to 18-point favorite. Where's it at the moment?
It's 18 the last time I looked this morning. Of course, you can check the Barstool Sportsbook, but not a lot of movement in the line when it's a half a point or a point. Over and under has been sitting at 54.5. And, I did my podcast with the picks with Anthony, and Trey Blossom did his picks, and I stayed away from picking the LSU game. Not going on the Ron theory of just watch LSU Saints and don't bet and don't pick, but I don't know, man. It's something about that 18 points is a little higher. It's higher than I thought it would be, and I don't know. I might just, might put $10 on the game to have fun, but that's a crazy number, I think, for that situation. And I think what makes you think that is we don't know where Mississippi State is. Are they a decent team that LSU just whipped on their own field in Starkville, or are they a team that's going to struggle the rest of the year? Maybe that LSU dominant performance doesn't have as much glitter as we thought it did last Saturday night. So I think that's the unknown, and I think that's causing people to hesitate.
I'm not a fan of Mississippi State's offense. I do think that offense is, whether it's the transition from the mummy style to this or whatever the case may be, I'm not sure, but it just doesn't. I'm not buying. If the buy-sell situation on Mississippi State, I'm selling. I do think that they're, not a very good team, but at the same time, LSU was clicking on so many cylinders offensively last week that I'm buying in on the fact that they've turned a corner and that they've gotten over their, quirky ways of that first game, much like they did last year. Last year, it took a few games before they hit their stride, and hopefully the Mississippi State game, kind of put them over the hump. The question I have is Arkansas has shown the ability to score a little bit. They've got a veteran quarterback. LSU secondary has its issues. The question is, can the pressure get there, and can they contain a running quarterback before the defensive secondary breaks down? 17, 18 points is a lot of points in the SEC. I like the over, Tommy, 54.5. If I was going to take something, if I had to bet either the minus 17, minus 18 LSU or the 54.5, I think I would lean towards the over. I think that's more likely.
I'm going to agree with you on that, because you got to think Arkansas with KJ Henderson and the LSU secondary, they're going to have a big play maybe or get a short field. They're going to score a few points, I believe. I think, they can realistically get 17 or 20 points. And on the other side of that, LSU 35 plus, and then you're looking at the over. So I'm going to agree with you on that one.
All right. New Orleans Saints for a minute. The Saints game's a little bit trickier. Mississippi State, obviously, it's all about the spread and which one you like. LSU's a super heavy favorite. Saints, I find themselves a dog on the road. They are a 1.5-point dog at the moment. That's moved a little bit. And the question is that, the Saints defense is getting lots of love. Everybody's, national pundits are talking a lot about the Saints defense. This is one of those situations where we're going to find out if the Saints defense is all that's cracked up to be. I don't think Carolina's offense is any good right now with a rookie quarterback. Obviously the Titans missed a couple of shots, had some open receivers, dropped some balls late that could have changed that game. But we're talking about, Jordan Love. He's the man. Rodgers is gone. Here's the keys to the kingdom. You're at home. You're a favorite. We're going to find out, I think, a lot about both teams in week 3.
Well, I think the story is Derek Carr. And how does he play? What kind of numbers does he put up? Can he keep the team on the field? Can he convert third down? Can he keep them on the field? Can he get touchdowns, not field goals? I think that's going to be the story. And they're hanging their hat on the defense. That's another intriguing thing. Jordan Love against the Saints defense. If the Saints can win this game, if they can get to 3-0, Alvin Kamara comes back after this game. He won't play Sunday in Green Bay. To know that you went 3-0 without Kamara, when Kamara come back, it's going to make Derek Carr better. It's going to make the offense better. There'll be more options, more pressure on the defense. So I just think that, Derek Carr's got to really step up, have a really good game, put some numbers up, throw the ball to Thomas and Olave and the tight end, and Taysom Hill will play a role. And they just got to find a way to fly home with a win.
I think I saw a stat that was posted that when Taysom Hill has 7 or more touches, the Saints are like 16-1 in 17 games where that's happened.
Give him the ball.
That's a very telling statistic. Now, obviously, part of that is a lot of those games where he had the 7+ touches is when you were kind of milking the clock and things like that. But at the same time, there's some value in that. And look, my job isn't, or our job as fans is not to be the general manager of the New Orleans Saints and to try to figure out value. Taysom Hill has a value. He is a good player. Is he worth all the money that the Saints gave him? Is he that much of a game changer? Probably not, but it's not my money. I don't care. I'm glad he's on the Saints team, and I think they hopefully figured out some ways to use him. And you mentioned without Alvin Kamara, it's a little different style, right? Taysom Hill's more of a bruiser type back. He's more physical. But he's a large human being moving downhill very quickly and is not afraid of contact and falls forward every time he hits somebody. So, hey, use that sucker. Take advantage of him while you have him, the final year of his contract, and get him his freaking 7 touches. I mean, that's clear that's something that they need to do. With the Saints, they hit 2 big shots down the field when they needed it late in games to seal both of their first 2 victories. Throw the ball down the field a little bit more. Where is that play action and take the shot, especially with a guy like Olave? So hopefully they're a little bit more aggressive on offense instead of less dink and dunk and underneath stuff. Michael Thomas, he is a tough SOB, TK, because every single time he catches the ball, he gets murdered. It's impressive to me. We questioned his heart. We questioned his want to be in New Orleans the last couple of years, and it was a little weird, no doubt about it. But you can't question what he's doing now. He's not putting up big numbers or anything, but his toughness is incredible because he is just living in that 5-yard, 6-yard zone, and he is getting crushed every time he catches the ball.
Yeah, and he's opening things up for Olave, obviously. And I think Thomas, there's going to be a game this year where he has 140 yards receiving and he gets to 9 or 10 catches. I would think it's going to happen, and that just, more bullets in the holster for the Saints offense.
By the way, before I forget, folks that are fans of the LSU Tigers or even Arkansas for that matter, if you're wanting to go to the game this weekend, we're doing it for every single home game. So support the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Go to lasportshall.com. You can buy raffle tickets. They're $1 a chance. The more you buy, the more value you get for your $1. You get more raffle tickets, the more money you spend. But but we have raffle tickets for sale. All the money proceeds benefit the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Foundation and the museum. And we're raffling off 2 club seats in the West Club. That's the best section in the entire stadium, food and drink included. And that's in the West Club, underneath right about the 25, 30-yard line. Great seats on the LSU side. So we will have those two club seats in a raffle each and every week, and a raffle off the game tickets. We're going to announce it today around 12:30 is when we'll announce the winner. That is going to be at lasportshall.com. Tomorrow we'll be at the Bruley Walk-Ons, and we'll talk plenty more about tomorrow's game with Derry Beckwith and Hunter McCann joining us. Wednesday, Tommy, I had the pleasure of being up in Ruston, Louisiana. Louisiana Tech had one of the more incredible events that I've ever been a part of. They unveiled 6 statues just outside the football stadium in kind of the north side of their end zone, where you go into the stadium. They kind of created like this. Is
that on the side by the basketball arena?
Yeah, it's kind of the northeast side of the. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It's on the northeast side, away from the basketball arena. Northwest would be basketball. Northeast side. Yeah. Up at Louisiana Tech, and they have 6 statues, and they kind of made like a little, I don't want to say gardens area, but they kind of turfed off the area and made like a little memorial plaza, if you will. And the cool thing is all 6 of these athletic statues, all the 6 of the people that will memorialize forever on Wednesday are in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. So I was there representing the Hall of Fame. Also wanted to, talk to these Hall of Famers and about some things with the Hall of Fame Foundation. They were Fred Dean, who tragically, passed away during COVID, and he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, played football at Louisiana Tech in the early 70s. In addition to him, you had Willie Roaf, who's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and the former great New Orleans Saints and Kansas City Chief, offensive lineman, fantastic guy, lives in Florida on the Atlantic side these days. Carl Malone was there, and Carl lives up in the Ruston area. Kim Mulkey was honored, and Teresa Witherspoon, who I remember Teresa Witherspoon more than I remember Kim Mulkey, just due to my age. Kim Mulkey, and just more of the games were on TV at the time that Teresa Witherspoon played. And she was the point guard right after Mulkey. They had 8 years of those two going Mulkey to Witherspoon. That was about as good as it gets. And then you had Venus Lacey after Witherspoon, who was an unbelievable player. But they had her, and then Terry Bradshaw was honored as well. They were all there. Fred Dean was represented by his family, but all of them were there, and it was an unbelievable ceremony. They had a thing inside the basketball arena, reception. They did like a Q&A with each of them for about 10 minutes each or so. Carl Malone actually literally moved me to tears. What he had to say and his love for Louisiana Tech was incredible. It was a special evening. All 6 are just absolute legends, and most of them are in national. Matter of fact, every single one of them is in a national Hall of Fame, not just Louisiana Hall of Fame or Louisiana Hall.
I mean, I know all those names. I've been to that campus a couple of times in the past few years to work football games, and Louisiana Tech's got a rich history in sports across the board, not just the women's basketball, but the football teams that, had its share of great times. The baseball program's on the rise and wants to fix their stadium up and other sports. And, it's kind of quiet in North Louisiana. We pay so much attention to everything on the I-10 corridor from Lake Charles over to New Orleans. But Louisiana Tech and Ruston, there's a lot of sports history and great stuff up there.
Unfortunately, yeah, the glory days of Louisiana Tech and Grambling have kind of come and gone, and you're not going to see, the legendary names and all the great Hall of Famers like you did probably the last 50, 60 years. But still tremendous tradition. There's more Hall of Famers from and with ties to Lincoln Parish, which is where Ruston is, than any other parish in the state. Wow. That's including New Orleans, right? So. It just goes to tell you the great tradition when the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame opened in the late 50s, when they started that body with the Louisiana Sports Writers Association. They started that governing body of selecting Hall of Famers every year. There's more from Lincoln Parish than any other parish. in the state. That's all you need to know about the great tradition and history of Grambling and Louisiana Tech and that area, the fertile ground that it is, going back to the beginning of the century and in the in the 50s and 60s and 70s. The cool thing I'll tell you about it is Terry Bradshaw was probably the rock star of the evening. More people were there with footballs and helmets and things like that they wanted him to sign. Kim Mulkey got some of the biggest ovations. Naturally, she wore some LSU purple, which I was surprised. She wore the LSU colors, but she rocked it. And Karl Malone probably and Teresa Witherspoon, they probably had the most touching speeches at the ceremony in the basketball arena prior to going outside to unveil the statues. Teresa Witherspoon and Karl Malone. Teresa Witherspoon talked about her playing days and talked about her love for Leon Barmore, who was there as well. He's another statue person on that campus. Kim Mulkey was, talked about her love for Leon Barmore and Louisiana Tech. They gave each of them a new letter jacket. So at the end of the speech, they would put on a letter jacket and all that. That was really, really cool. So special evening. We'll have a lot of cool stuff at the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame auction online, signed by those people. We're going to have an online auction coming up in a little over a week. We'll have that info for you for Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. So that was a night, Tommy, that I will never forget, because there won't be anything like that I'll be a part of anytime soon. 6 statues, 6 National Hall of Famers, and 5 of the 6 were alive and well and all there. And then Fred Dean's family represent. And the guy who created the statues was there. He's the same artist, by the way, that did Skip Bertman and Pete Maravich's statues as well.
All right, cool. It sounds like it was a great night.
TK, tell us about Tremonti's before we get out of here.
Well, if you're going tailgating tonight, high school, LSU game tomorrow, they got party platters. They got all the wine and whiskey and beer and chicken and sausage, 20 different flavors of sausage, steaks, shrimp rolls, ribeye rolls. They got it all at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Just come on in here, Jefferson Highway, right down the street from Parkview Baptist Church and School. Come on in, check it out. You'll be glad you did, not just for this weekend, but the whole football season. Hunting season's right around the corner. They do a lot of game processing here. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge. I want you to check it out.
All right. For Tommy Christ, I'm Ronnie Rance. We'll be on the air tomorrow morning from 10 until noon over at Bruley Walk On. So come on by. Doors open at 11 o'clock for lunch. So stop on by and join us. Looking forward to that. All right. Have a great one, everybody. Please like and share this video.